So here we are. So moving averages were developed in 1909 and really popularized as the years progressed. They're a long-term projection, and moving averages, you can use a lot of different moving averages, but there's one in particular that really lines up with Bitcoin movements. Do you know what it is? It's there in green. But you can have a lot of different moving averages. You can have the 50-day, the 100-day, the 200-day. You can have the 50-week, the 200-week. There's so many different moving averages, and they impact Bitcoin in a different way, but this one impacts like no other. I'll show you how to find it on the daily or the weekly, but let's dig in to why this is so critical. When we break this trend line, this moving average, we see massive moves to the upside if we break it to the upside. And if we break it to the downside, we see pretty devastating moves to the downside. And this is for the history. So as we are in a bull market, not only does it mean when we break it, we see a large move to the upside, and when we break it to the downside, we see a large move down. It's also during a during a bull market, acts as critical resistance. So if you're in Bitcoin for long term and you simply just bought during a bull market when we touched down on this moving average, you would be doing fascinatingly well. Do you know what it is yet? Put your comments down below. But I want to dig into it further so you can get the big picture. You can see when we broke it here on March 24th, 2014, we went all the way down pretty drastically, something like 80% drop. And when we crossed back above it, things were looking really good. This represents so many different points, different critical points of Bitcoin. Buys during a bull market, large moves. It really is one single moving average that's very critical. And you can see even back here in 2010, we held critical support multiple times on this. You can, dating back to March 2011, look at that critical support here. So this has been a very important moving average. And where are we right now? This is where we are right now. We are holding critical support. What we don't want to see is a breakthrough. A breakthrough would be a drastic move to the downside, or we could see a very powerful bounce to the upside, as we have during past bull markets. Technically, right now, as we speak, prices above the 200-day, we're in a bull market. And look at what's happened in the past bull markets when we've held support on this level. Now, let's take away the suspense. You've had enough suspense. You just want to know what this is so you can draw it on your charts. This is the 21-week moving average. The 21-week moving average. I want you to draw this on your chart, and it's like the 147.6 moving average on the daily. If you want to draw it on the daily, you can feel free, right? So this is something that we've talked about at length. Sometimes we show you on the daily with a 147, whatever it is, or on the weekly with the 21-week. We've held it as critical resistance up until October. We broke through it in January. And then again, we moved into a bull market towards the end of February, and now holding support. This could be very critical, how we interact with this specific moving average. If we start to see a bounce, that's a very powerful sign, because in the history, when we've seen bounces from this, it's meant a lot of gains to the upside. And if we break through, generally it means pretty drastic falls. So we'll keep a close eye on this as we continue. I want to know what you think is going to happen. And